Rian Cole said his name. A fist answered first. He hit the bar floor hard. Sticky. Sour. His mouth tasted like rust and cheap synth food. Above him, a reaver smiled with 2 mini teeth and 4-knuckled fists that loved work. Interview starts now, pretty boy. The boot came down. Rian rolled. Wood splintered where his skull had been. The room howled. Bets flew. In the neon haze, he saw her behind the counter, calm as a surgeon. Skin violet, hair silver, eyes like liquid metal. Astra Vel, 18. New shepherd of Dock 9. Half the sector feared her. The other half owed her. The reaver grabbed Rian's throat. Old lessons woke up. Grandfather Cole's, not police training. He drove a knee up. Soft target. Air left the alien in a bark. Rian snatched a bottle, cracked it across the skull. Messy. Effective. Messy, Astra said, polishing a glass, but effective. Number 2 came in silent. Chitin plates. Insect grace. Rian ducked under a hook, swept the shin, used the bar edge as a hammer. The crack rang like a bell. Number 3 was human. A knife flashed. Really? During a job interview. Rian caught the wrist, turned, and let the man fly into a card table. Credits and curses exploded. Time, Astra said. Silence fell except for the groans. She walked forward. Every step was measured. Predatory. The air felt thicker near her, like the room was learning respect. Up close, Rian saw small scars on her knuckles and a faint tremor she hid by tightening her grip on the towel. You're bleeding, she said. Your people are enthusiastic. She reached with the towel. Her fingers brushed his jaw. The world sparked. Heat, bright and sudden, raced across his skin. Their eyes met, brown to silver, and the noise of the bar fell away, like someone put a wall around them. Astra pulled back fast as if burned. You're hired, she said, voice flat. Try not to die before dinner. She turned. The tremor in her hand got worse for 1 second. Then it was gone. 3 days later, Rian guarded a door marked private, family only, while someone inside screamed about vegetables. The green ones looked like boogers. The door burst open. A purple blur in a tutu slammed into his knees. Sorry, mister. Big silver eyes blinked up. Oh, you're the new guy who beat the mean men. I watched from the vent. Luma, Astra said from the doorway, holding a plate of very green, very booger-looking food. What did we say about the vents? Only for emergencies, the 5-year-old recited. And when I'm bored. Sticky fingers grabbed Rian's hand. Come meet everyone. Do you like spiders? Mine only bites bad people. The private room looked like a toy store had exploded. The old shepherd, Kev Vel, the man stories said could stop a riot with a look, was on hands and knees giving twins a horse ride. Thea, Astra's sister, disarmed a toddler with scary skill. At the table, 3 wanted criminals did homework, braid duty, and upside-down story time. This is Mr. Rian, Luma announced. He's my new friend. The room stared. Rian felt like a gazelle in a meat suit. So, Kev said, still on all fours, you're the one who flattened 3 of my best. They started it. Kev's laugh should not have been comforting. It was, sit, eat. Luma, no spiders at the table. But Mr. Fluff likes sandwiches, Luma said. She patted a small container clipped to her tutu. He only bites bullies. Astra sat across from Rian. She did not look at him. She corrected a boy's spelling instead. Necessary. 1 C. 2 S's. Luma tugged Rian's sleeve. Why do you talk to your watch when no one's looking? His heart tripped. I don't. Uh-huh. She swung her legs. Also, Tommy's dad at the port tells bad men which ships have purple kids. Bad men take them. Make them into batteries. The fork stilled in Rian's hand. Luma, Astra said, warning in her tone. It's important, Luma whispered. Police help them. The floor tilted under Rian's boots. His badge hid in his rented room. His mission hummed under his skin. Undercover. Evidence. Arrests. Astra poured 2 shots of the good stuff. Pushed 1 to him. Velvari biochemistry. We're rare. We're profitable. Torture, Rian said. Motivation, she replied. The more pain, the more power. Very efficient. The glass cracked in his fist. You're angry, she said, watching the fracture line creep. They are children. Her smile was a knife. Still think the good guys wear badges? He wanted to argue. Training said argue. Truth said don't. He could still feel the spark from her touch, like a wire inside him had been stripped, and now everything conducted. She reached for a rag. He caught her wrist without thinking. The world lit again. A rush, bright and hot, poured up his arm. Astra gasped. Their breaths synced for a single heartbeat. She tore free. Don't do that. What is this? Biology, she said. Doesn't matter. A lie lived in her eyes. That night, Rian called his report in 2 hours late. The secure link flickered. Director Halden's thin smile filled the dark. I'm in, Rian said. Target trusts me. Good. The family. Rian pictured Luma's gap-toothed grin. Astra's shaking hand. Kev on the floor with glitter on his cheek. Containable, he lied. Everyone's a threat, Cole. Remember. The link died. Rian stared at his reflection. His world had shifted. The case was the same. He was not. He thought of Luma's whisper. He thought of Astra's hand, trembling after violence. He thought of the spark that felt like fate. He made a choice. If the sector wanted power from pain, then he would break the machine that ate children. And if that meant burning his badge to ash, so be it. After the party, the station went back to its usual noise. Rian did not sleep. He walked the docks at dawn. Cold metal. Salt wind. He watched people move like ants with secrets. He had a list now. Names, shifts, times. Small things that fit together. A manifest here. A changelog there. A picture on a dock worker's wall that showed a child in a stasis pod, smiling like a prize. Each small thing was ugly. Together they made a machine. Rian used police tradecraft. He read habits. He watched mouths move when they thought no one was listening. He pretended to be drunk in a cantina. He bribed a clerk with 2 credits and a promise. He copied a shipping schedule with his fingers in the clerk's coffee. He found a ship. Quiet name. Night Sparrow. Hidden route. A hold marked agricultural supplies. The codes did not match. The port record said nothing. But a dock manifest had been edited. Someone had erased the right lines. He pulled his old contacts. Not official ones. People who owed favors. People who had learned mercy behind knives. Kev listened. He tapped a cigarette, but into a tin. He did not laugh. He did not scold. He only said, bring proof or don't come home. Rian got proof. He watched the Sparrow load at midnight. Men in clean uniforms signed for crates. The uniforms had badges like the ones he used to respect. He filmed them with a cheap lens taped inside a trash can. He burned the memory stick into a hot coal for a minute to make it look used. The little lies and clever tricks kept him alive. Back at the bar, Astra studied the footage. Her face did not move. She drank once, slowly. Then she spoke. They run through official channels. Her voice was low. Our people are marked on paper as livestock. Legal paperwork. Tax code. It is a neat system. Rian swallowed. Who signs? Names you know, she said. Names you should not know. People in suits. People with stars. He thought of Director Halden's face on the secure link. He thought of promotions, medals, and soft hands that signed hard orders. He felt the old knot in his gut. The knot that told him his world was not right. They needed allies. He expected criminals. He did not expect children. Luma had a plan before the adults could agree. We watched the ship, she said matter of fact. She set up a map on the table, crayons marking routes. We bring snacks. Spiders help with locks. Astra almost smiled. She checked the crayon map, like it contained codes hidden by a child. Your spider unlocks what, exactly? Luma's silver eyes went bright. Mr. Fluff knows a thing or two. She glowed with pride. He hates locks. He eats sticky glue. They plan like thieves who had learned to be kind. Kevin gathered a team. Theo wired crude EMPs. The bar's reformed gangsters lined up, sober and serious. They were good at being violent for useful reasons. Rian handed out small tasks. He gave the kids radios made from toys. He showed a secret sign to the parents. When I lift my left hand twice, we move. The night they struck, rain fell thin like needles. The Sparrow waited under gray clouds. Guards walked slow and confident. Rian moved through them, wearing a uniform stolen from a man who owed him a favor. He walked with a paper in his hand and a face that belonged to the right kind of official. Inside the hold, the air tasted wrong. Warm and sweet. Machines hummed. He found pods. Not crops. Flesh sealed under glass. Small bodies curled like sleeping things. One pod had a tiny purple hand pressed to the inside. The sight made his stomach fall. A whistle blew. The plan fell apart at a single sound. Someone had changed a shift. The guards moved harder than they had to. A light blinked red. Rian ran. He knocked over cans. He cursed as an alarm sang. At the loading ramp, he met Astra. Her hair was silver fire in the rain. Her eyes were knives. Too many, she said. We take one. We make noise. We take their time. They did not leave with all the children. They left with one pod slung on a shoulder and a promise in their teeth. Back at the station, mechanics and medics argued. The pod hissed. Inside, a small purple body stirred. The child coughed. Luma burst into tears and then into laughter. Mr. Fluff was right. Rian watched Astra hold the child like she held something sacred. He watched the new tenderness on her face. He watched the tremor in her fingers that had been there since the first fight. They had a score. They had a start. They had a witness in cold glass and a memory stick burned into a coal. But they had also stirred hornets. The next morning, official notices went up. Missing cargo. An internal audit. A list of names flagged by someone in a clean office. Director Halden's timeline had a new entry. Investigate Cole. Rian read it and did not flinch. The threads of truth now rose like smoke. They would find him. They would find Astra. They would follow where the Night Sparrow had sailed. He stood on the wet dock. Rain washed the coal-smudged dirt from his fingers. He looked at Astra and at the child in her arms. We do more, he said. She nodded. We burn it down. He thought then of his badge and how small it felt in his pocket. It had been for law. Now it held only paper and rust. He pressed it into his palm and let the rain take the salt. 2 days after the rescue, Dock 9 no longer slept. The smell of ozone and fear filled the alleys. The bar, once a noisy pit of laughter and brawls, was now a command post. Holographic maps shimmered over broken tables. Astra stood at the center, jaw tight, eyes sharp. Rian stood beside her, coat damp from rain and nerves. They'd cracked the pod open. The little girl inside, Velvari, barely 6, had survived, but her veins glowed faintly blue under the skin. Energy extraction scars. Astra didn't speak for a long time after seeing them. When she finally did, her voice carried no tremor. They built power grids out of our children. Rian's throat hurt. You said it was legal. Paperwork makes anything legal, she replied, turning away. But not right. He looked at her, really looked. She was 18, leading murderers who followed her without question. She carried the weight of an empire and still worried about bedtime stories for Luma. It wasn't courage, it was defiance made flesh. They had proof now. The recording, the rescued child, the smuggling route. All threads leading back to someone untouchable. Rian knew who. His own department. His own mentor. He didn't tell Astra. Not yet. Instead, he used old habits. He sent coded messages through broken comm towers. He erased trails, edited logs, replaced names with ghosts. He told himself it was for her protection. But the truth was simpler. He wasn't ready to face what he'd become. That night, Luma found him in the maintenance bay, staring at his reflection in a cracked mirror. You look sad, she said, climbing onto a crate beside him. Just thinking. Thinking makes people sad. Auntie Astra says action fixes it. He smiled faintly. She's not wrong. Then why aren't you fixing it? She asked with a 5-year-old's directness. He had no answer. The door slid open behind them. Astra's reflection appeared in the mirror, silver hair glowing in the dim light. Luma bed. Already did. Again. The child groaned but hopped down, muttering something about unfair bedtime laws. Astra stepped closer. The air changed, thickened, just like the first day. You shouldn't let her see your face like that, she said softly. She sees everything anyway. Children always do. He turned to her. We can't stay reactive. Halden will come for you. He already has. 3 patrol ships scan the sector tonight. Then we move first. Her silver eyes flickered toward him, unreadable. You sound like one of us now. Maybe I am. For a long moment, they stood close enough that the hum of the lights seemed to pulse between them. She reached for the data stick lying on the table. Their hands brushed. Again, the spark. Bright, living, dangerous. Astra froze. Stop doing that, she whispered. It's not something I control. Then control yourself. She turned sharply, but he caught her wrist. Gentle, not forceful. Tell me what it means, he said. That spark, what is it? She hesitated. Velvari don't connect easily. Our touch carries chemical memory. It's how we bond, how we choose. Choose what? Who we keep. Her words landed heavy. And if you choose wrong, you burn. Forever. Silence stretched. Then alarm shattered it. Red lights flashed through the bar. Kev's voice boomed over the intercom, rough and calm. Incoming gunship, unmarked, vector east. Rian ran to the window. Outside, a shuttle roared low, lights off, hull painted matte black. He knew the make, police tactical insertion. He'd flown one before. Halden, he muttered. Astra's tone turned sharp. How long? 2 minutes, maybe less. Get the civilians underground. Rian hesitated. You're staying? She was already checking her sidearm. It's my sector. Then it's mine too. The gunship hit the landing pad hard. Floodlights exploded to life. Armored figures poured out. Black visors, polished weapons, perfect formation. Rian's stomach twisted. He recognized every move. He had trained them. Murphy, a voice barked through speakers. This is your only warning. Astra stepped forward into the light. Funny, she said, raising her pistol. That's what I was about to say. The firefight erupted like thunder. Plasma bolts cut the air, turning rain to steam. Rian moved with her, cover to cover, returning fire with practiced precision. The old instincts came back, efficient, cold, lethal. One officer went down. Then another. Rian saw faces behind visors, people he'd once called teammates. Guilt hit him, but so did something else, freedom. When the last shot faded, only the hiss of cooling metal remained. Smoke curled over the bar's shattered doorway. Astra leaned on a crate, breathing hard, purple blood streaking her arm. Rian approached slowly. You okay? She looked at him, expression unreadable. They were your people. Not anymore. For the first time, she smiled. Not the cold, careful kind, but real. Then maybe you do belong here, Officer Cole. He dropped his weapon, the badge still hidden in his pocket pressing against his ribs. Not officer, he said. Just Rian. Outside, the night burned blue with fire. The war had found them. And somewhere far above, in a clean office under perfect light, Director Halden watched a feed flicker with static. He smiled thinly. Let him play hero, he said. It'll make his fall so much sweeter. The city above the docks never truly slept. It hummed with a rhythm made of engines, neon, and quiet cruelty. After the gunship assault, Astra turned Dock 9 into a fortress. Barricades rose from junk. Drones buzzed through the fog like metal wasps. Every criminal, smuggler, and runaway child now answered to her command. Rian moved through the chaos, silent and steady. He fixed sensors, checked weapons, built traps. The others respected him now, not for his badge, which no one spoke of, but for how he fought, how he protected Luma, how he bled beside them. Still, the guilt stayed. Every piece of police tech he rewired, every code he broke reminded him that he was destroying the very system that had once defined him. But every time he saw Astra tending to the rescued Velvari child, the one with glowing veins, that guilt cracked a little more. Late one night, Astra called him to the basement. Look, she said, pointing to a projection. It wasn't a map this time. It was a network. A glowing web of red lines that ran across half the sector. Each node was a transport hub. Each pulse represented energy, stolen from Velvari captives. Rian leaned closer. You're tracking their power grid? Her eyes gleamed in the light. We've traced the signatures. Every child they take fuels one of these stations. We destroy the cores, we cripple their system. He stared at the central node, blinking like a heart. What's this one? Astra hesitated. That's the core nexus. On Blackpoint Station. Rian froze. He knew the place. Top-tier security, deep orbit, run directly under the central authority. His department's badge codes were built into its locks. You've been there, Astra guessed. Too many times. Then you're going back. He wanted to argue, but her expression left no room. You'll need me for access, he said. I need you for more than that, she replied, her voice quiet now. You understand how they think. You know where they'll hide their filth. Her words struck deep. She didn't mean it as kindness, but it felt like it. The next evening, Dock 9 looked like a ghost yard. Ships stripped for armor, people packing crates with quiet determination. Even the children knew something big was coming. Luma followed Rian around, stuffing her spider's cage into a backpack. You're going somewhere bad, she said finally. Maybe. Will there be bad men? Yes. Then take Mr. Fluff. He likes biting bad men. Rian crouched. I level with her. You keep him safe this time. She frowned. You're lying. Auntie Astra lies like that too, when she thinks she's protecting me. He smiled sadly. Then I guess I learned from the best. When she hugged him, it hurt more than any wound. The infiltration began at dawn. Rian flew the stolen shuttle in low orbit, every system cloaked. Astra sat beside him, dressed in dark combat armor traced with faint violet lines. The silence between them was heavier than the Anguine's hum. As they approached the core nexus, Rian's hands trembled. His security codes still worked. The gates opened with a quiet beep, betrayal made efficient. Inside, the station gleamed like glass. No grime, no laughter, no humanity. Just order. A perfect prison wrapped in polished metal. They moved quickly through sterile corridors. Rian's pulse synced with the hum of machinery. He knew every turn, every sensor. But now he walked it as a ghost. In the reactor chamber, they found it, the power heart. Hundreds of small pods lined the walls, connected by silver wires. The air shimmered faintly with trapped life. Astra's jaw clenched. They're still alive. Rian stepped forward, placing his palm on a control panel. Their system runs on pain. She didn't look at him. Then let's end it. They planted the charges. The hum of the reactor grew unstable. Lights flickered red. But just as they turned to leave, a voice filled the chamber. Step away from the controls, Agent Cole. The sound froze his blood. Director Halden stood at the doorway, flanked by armored guards. His expression was almost tender. I told you to stay in the light, son. Now look at you, playing hero with thieves. Astra raised her weapon. Rian stepped in front of her. Don't, he said. He wants this. Halden chuckled. I want you alive, boy. You were my best. But now you're compromised. That alien touch, it's rewriting your mind. He looked at Astra with disgust. Do you even know what she's done? That family of hers runs every black channel in 3 sectors. She's killed more humans than I can count. Rian's voice was steady. And you turned children into batteries. Halden sighed. For progress. For energy. For peace. Rian stared at him. For power. Halden's smile faded. You think you found morality at the bottom of a bar? You're no hero, Cole. You're a defect. Astra stepped beside Rian now, her tone low and dangerous. Funny. The defect's the one you can't control. Before Halden could speak again, Rian hit the detonator on his wristband. Alarm screamed. The floor shook. He grabbed Astra's hand. Run. They sprinted through collapsing corridors, lights flashing, walls cracking open to vacuum. Flames chased them. The blast hit the reactor seconds after they reached the docking bay. The core nexus bloomed behind them, a silent explosion in the void, bright as a dying star. Their shuttle tumbled away, alarms blaring, shields sparking. Astra gasped, clutching the console. You didn't tell me the blast radius. You didn't ask, he shouted back. For a moment, they both laughed, breathless, insane, alive. Behind them, the power grid of an empire flickered and dimmed. Rian looked at the reflection of the fire in Astra's silver eyes. This was the first one, he said quietly. Her hand brushed his. This time, she didn't pull away. Then let's burn the rest. The explosion over Black Point didn't just cripple a power grid, it ignited a rebellion. Across the outer colonies, lights went dark. Ships drifted silent. Factories that had fed on stolen life ground to a halt. For the first time in decades, people asked questions they weren't supposed to ask. And somewhere in the black between worlds, Astra Vel and Rian Cole vanished. They hid inside the husk of an old mining freighter, its hull half eaten by rust, its engines barely alive. Inside, Luma's laughter echoed through the corridors as she chased a mechanical spider that Rian had built to replace Mr. Fluff's missing leg. You welded it wrong, she complained. He wobbles like he's dizzy. He's retired, Rian said, tightening a bolt. You should respect your elders. Astra snorted from across the room, where she was cleaning a plasma rifle. You talk like an old man yourself. He looked up. After that blast, I feel like one. Astra's expression softened, but only slightly. You saved hundreds of lives, Rian. Don't downplay that. He didn't answer. The truth sat heavy in his chest, because the blast had also killed thousands. Engineers, guards, maybe even innocents who hadn't known what they were part of. The cost of justice was never clean. He looked out the viewport. The stars flickered in the distance, dimmer now, as if the universe itself were holding its breath. They'll come after us harder, he said. They already have, Astra replied. Halden survived. Broadcasted a sector-wide bounty. Triple price for the human trader and his purple witch. Luma gasped from under the table. I'm not purple, she shouted. Astra smiled faintly. You're lavender, little one. Luma grinned. Lavender sounds fancy. Like ice cream. Rian met Astra's eyes. We can't keep running forever. I'm not planning to. She flicked a switch on her wristband. A holographic map shimmered to life above the table. Hundreds of red dots blinked across space. Every dot is a facility still draining our kind. You took out one. I'm taking the rest. Rian studied the map. That's suicide. Maybe, she said, but at least it'll mean something. Luma crawled into his lap, looking between them. Can I help? Rian smiled. You already do. Days blurred into weeks. Astra trained harder than anyone. She practiced until her hands bled, then wrapped them and trained again. Rian worked beside her, rebuilding weapons, hacking communication lines, tracking supply chains. They spoke little, but their silence grew comfortable, like two storms learning to move together. Sometimes, late at night, he'd catch her staring at him through the dim glow of the control panels. When their eyes met, neither looked away. The spark, that strange Velvari bond, had stopped frightening her. It had become something else, a promise unspoken, electric and alive. But the peace couldn't last. One morning, the freighter's sensors flared red. 6 ships. Heavy class. Military design. Rian cursed under his breath. They found us. Astra's voice was steel. Then they'll regret it. They moved fast. He rerouted power to the shields while Astra herded the children, a few other rescued Velvari now living with them, into the lower decks. Outside, the void shimmered with the blue light of approaching engines. The comm crackled. Then came the voice they both feared. Agent Cole, Director Halden said, calm as ever. You've been busy. The galaxy thinks you're dead. I can fix that. Come home. Rian's jaw tightened. I don't work for ghosts. Then die with one, Halden replied. Missiles screamed across the void. The first hit sent the freighter spinning. Alarms wailed. Luma screamed as sparks rained from the ceiling. Astra grabbed the controls, fighting the ship's roll. Rian, we need a miracle. Working on it. He bypassed 3 circuits, hot-wired a broken thruster, and turned the ship toward a nearby asteroid belt. The freighter dove into the rocks just as another missile clipped its wing. Metal shrieked. Alarms howled. Inside, chaos turned to silence as the engines finally died. They drifted, hidden among the shadows of the asteroids. Astra leaned against the console, breathing hard. That was stupid. You're welcome. She looked at him then, really looked. You'd die for us. He didn't blink. Already did, the moment I chose you. The words hung in the air. For the first time, Astra didn't hide behind strength. She reached out, her hand finding his. No spark this time, just warmth. Luma peeked from the hatchway, holding Mr. Fluff with both hands. Are you two gonna kiss again? Astra blinked. What do you mean again? Luma grinned. You did last night. I saw it. Rian laughed. You really need a bedtime. Astra rolled her eyes but smiled. A real one, rare and bright. Sleep, little spy. As Luma ran off, Rian turned back to the viewport. The stars glimmered against the black, reflected in Astra's silver eyes. He could see it. The future they hadn't built yet. Fragile, impossible, worth everything. He spoke quietly. Halden won't stop. He'll burn worlds to find us. Astra nodded. Then we stop being prey. Her voice dropped to a whisper. It's time the galaxy learned what happens when you hunt the Velvari, and a human who forgot how to quit. In the distance, the faint blue glow of Halden's fleet drifted through the asteroid field, searching, hunting, closing in. Rian checked his rifle and smiled without humor. Let them come. The war had a new heartbeat, and it was human. The asteroid field hid them for 3 days. In that silence, Rian rebuilt the ship's reactor from scrap, while Astra turned their crew of smugglers and orphans into soldiers. Luma drew battle plans in crayon on the walls, labeling the enemy ships with frowny faces and misspelled insults like Halden dumbhead. By the 4th day, the scanner lit up again. Halden's fleet was back. Only this time there were dozens of ships. They moved like sharks through dust and rock, slow, patient, certain their prey had nowhere left to run. Astra stood beside Rian on the bridge. Her armor gleamed faintly violet under the emergency lights. Her voice was calm, almost cold. He's not hunting anymore, she said. He's exterminating. Rian glanced at the sensors. Then he's about to meet a problem exterminators never expect. What's that? The rats fighting back. He keyed the comm. All decks, ready positions. We're not ghosts anymore. We bite. The battle began in silence, the kind that happens right before the stars catch fire. Rian fired the first shot. A plasma torpedo, cloaked until the last second, slammed into a destroyer's side and split it like glass. The explosion painted the asteroid belt in light. "Contact made," he said. "Now we run." Loud. Astra's voice cut through the comms. "Doc 9 fighters, on my mark, scatter and sting." Small ships burst from the shadows like a swarm of hornets. They weren't military craft. They were rebuilt smugglers, freighters, and mining haulers, all armed with whatever the underworld could scrape together. But in Astra's hands, chaos had order. "Keep moving," she shouted. "We hit and vanish. They rely on tracking. Take out their eyes." For a moment, it worked. 3 enemy ships went dark. A 4th spun out of orbit, its engines coughing smoke. But then Halden's voice came across the open channel, smooth and cruel. "Cute. I taught him that trick." The fleet adapted instantly. Their formation tightened. They cut off escape lanes. Drones deployed like a net, blanketing the field in static and heat. Rian swore. "He's using predictive algorithms. I know this pattern." Astra's eyes narrowed. "Then break it." He slid into the navigation chair, fingers flying. "They expect us to dodge left. So we don't." He grinned. "Exactly." He killed the main engines, letting their ship drift cold and dark. The enemy sensors lost them for a heartbeat. That was all Astra needed. She angled their trajectory toward a spinning asteroid. "Hold tight." They slammed into its shadow, scraping rock, metal screaming. The hull cracked, but they stayed alive. Inside, Luma clutched her spider cage. "That was awesome." Again, Rian coughed. "Maybe later." Through the viewport, they saw the real trap. A mining relay tower, long abandoned, hovered in the distance, its reactors still half active. Rian's eyes widened. "If we overload that tower, the blast will collapse the entire field." Astra turned to him. "You mean kill everyone?" "Only if they stay." Her gaze lingered. "You plan to stay, don't you?" He didn't answer. They made their move. Astra rallied the fighters, drawing Halden's fleet deeper into the field while Rian broke into the relay's old systems. Static hissed through the comms, and behind the noise, Halden's voice returned. "You can't win this, Rian. You were built to serve, not lead." Rian's reply was steady. "Then maybe it's time you met the version you didn't build." He jammed the override. The relay tower began to glow, lines of red light running across its surface like veins. Energy built fast, too fast. Astra's voice cut through. "Rian, we have to go now." "Get them out," he said, fingers locked on the console. "I'll buy time." "Don't you dare." He killed the channel. The tower roared like a living thing. Its pulse shook the ship. Metal melted. Circuits screamed. He could feel the energy through the floor, crawling up his legs like heat. Then hands. Astra's. She yanked him back from the console. "I told you not to do that," she growled. He blinked. "How did you?" "Luma told me you were planning something stupid. She's a better spy than you." A faint laugh escaped him. "Sounds about right." Together, they ran. The shuttle bay door closed behind them just as the relay exploded. The shockwave hit like the wrath of gods. The asteroid field tore itself apart, fragments spinning in every direction. The entire sector went white. When the light cleared, Halden's fleet was gone. Every ship, vaporized or drifting, silent. Astra's hand still clutched Rian's sleeve. Her voice shook. "You were going to die. You dragged me out. Someone has to make sure you keep your promises." Outside, space burned quietly. The explosion had carved a wound across the stars, a warning and a beginning. Rian stared at it. "He's not dead," he said finally. "Not yet." Astra nodded. "No. But now he knows what we are." "What are we?" She met his eyes, silver bright and unflinching. The end of his kind of order. Hours later, as the survivors regrouped, Luma found them sitting side by side on the ruined deck. She climbed between them, wrapping her arms around both. "Are we safe now?" she whispered. Rian looked at Astra. Astra looked at the stars. "For tonight," she said. "But tomorrow we hunt." And somewhere in the silence beyond the debris field, deep in the dark of space, a damaged ship flickered to life. Inside, half burned and half mad, Director Halden whispered through blood and static. "You think you've won?" You've only taught humanity how to burn brighter. The war wasn't over. It had just learned its name. Months passed since the explosion that shattered Halden's fleet. Across the colonies, rumors spread like wildfire of purple-skinned rebels and a human who burned a fleet to protect children. Some called them terrorists. Others called them hope. Doc 9 had changed. The old bar was now the heart of something bigger, a resistance that stretched across 12 worlds. Astra Vel commanded it with calm authority, her silver eyes sharper, her voice steadier. Rian Cole worked beside her, part strategist, part engineer, part symbol. But symbols couldn't bleed forever, and both of them were running out of time. The transmission came through a damaged relay, a broken voice whispering coordinates. The words were clear enough to chill the room. Project Rebirth active. The director lives. Astra froze. He's alive. Rian nodded slowly. And he's not rebuilding the network, he's evolving it. Thea slammed a fist onto the table. Then we end him for good. Astra's tone was colder. Not end, erase. No more hiding places. Within hours, the fleet of outlaws, traitors, and rebels began assembling. 1,000 mismatched ships flying under one banner, the Free Accord. Children rescued from the Velvari grids now piloted fighter craft. Former pirates manned cannons. Ex-soldiers who had lost everything followed them, drawn by two names whispered like myth, Astra and Rian. Black Dawn Station was Halden's new fortress, built from the wreckage of his own defeat, orbiting a dying sun. The approach was suicide. The place bristled with automated guns and AI drones, all coded with Rian's old tactics. Feels like fighting myself, he muttered, scanning the defenses. Astra smirked faintly, then stopped losing. The plan was simple. Astra's forces would draw the fire. Rian would infiltrate the core, destroy the mind behind Halden's machines. They launched at dusk. Space turned gold as the dying sun flared, bathing the battlefield in light. The first wave hit. Mercenaries, smugglers, even old Velvari elders piloting ancient ships. The sky became chaos, a storm of plasma and courage. Rian broke through the perimeter and landed inside the station. The corridors were too familiar. Polished steel, no sound but the hum of control. Every shadow whispered memory. Then the voice came. Welcome home, Agent Cole. Halden stood in the core chamber, alive but changed. Cybernetic veins traced his face. One eye glowed red. You couldn't stop evolution, he said. So I became it. Rian drew his weapon. You became a parasite. Halden smiled thinly. You destroyed order. I will rebuild it from your ashes. They fought, not like soldier and traitor, but like creator and creation. Each move mirrored the other. Each strike was a memory. The floor burned beneath them. Halden's hand caught Rian's throat, mechanical fingers crushing. You think saving one species makes you pure? You doomed 1,000 when you shattered the grids. Rian choked out. Maybe, but at least they're free. Then Astra's voice echoed through the chamber. Move. She crashed through the upper deck, rifle blazing. The shot hit Halden square in the chest, sending him reeling back into the reactor pit. Sparks erupted. Rian stumbled to his knees. You were supposed to stay outside. I never let you have all the fun. They ran to the control core. A pulsing orb floated there, the heart of Project Rebirth, glowing with stolen energy. Astra reached for the detonator. Once this goes, Rian said, everything tied to it dies. Including us? Probably. She smiled. Then let's make it worth it. He covered her hand with his. The spark came again. The same pulse that had bound them on the first day, now burning brighter than ever. Silver met brown, and the world fell away. Together, they pressed the switch. From orbit, the explosion looked like dawn, a wave of white fire blooming over the black sun, spreading until it swallowed the sky. Every slave grid, every control tower, every coded chain tied to Halden's empire disintegrated at once. When the light faded, silence filled the galaxy. The war ended not with victory, but with freedom. Weeks later, on a quiet moon, Luma ran barefoot through tall grass, chasing the repaired Mr. Fluff. Children laughed nearby, Velvari and human both, building towers out of scrap metal and dreams. At the edge of the field, Astra sat beneath a silver tree, her armor gone, her scars soft in the light. A shadow fell across her. Rian, older now, quieter, alive by some miracle he refused to explain. She looked up and smiled. You found your way back. I followed the noise, he said, nodding toward Luma's laughter. Hard to miss. She patted the ground beside her. Sit. Watch. This is what we fought for. He sat, shoulder brushing hers. Worth every scar. Luma spotted them and waved wildly. Auntie Astra. Mr. James. Come play. Rian chuckled. She still calls me that. She always will, Astra said softly. To her, you're the hero who stayed. He turned to her, voice low. And you? She met his gaze, silver eyes gleaming. I'm the one who finally stopped running. Above them, the night sky shimmered, not with fleets or warships, but with satellites broadcasting a new message across every world. No more chains. No more cages. Humanity stands, with all who dared to survive. Astra leaned her head against his shoulder. Not the ending I expected, she murmured. Rian smiled. That's because it's not an ending. The stars burned brighter, like a promise kept, the dawn they made together, written across the universe. The purple alien girl cried, Please don't take my sister. The cop who broke every rule.